Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for this Friday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy, meteorologist with the National Weather Service, and I'll be hosting today's show. Up first, there are no watches, warnings, or advisories out anywhere around the state today and probably through tomorrow as well, and maybe even into at least early Sunday. And from there, taking a look at satellite imagery, low pressure in the Gulf of Alaska, and kind of west-northwest flow coming around the backside of that system, also coming around from the east into the Prince William Sound area, with Kodiak Island basically in the westerly flow there with the low so close to the island, still clouds and a few showers around. But you can see some clearing over the western interior along the mid and lower Yukon River Valley areas, and then pick up some clouds out over the deltas. But it looked like a fair amount of sunshine from Togiak Bay and Bethel and the Kuskokwim Delta, Kuskokwim Valley northward there into the northwest interior on out to Kivalina, but clouds covering with some light snow up over the Arctic coast and North Slope. Amounts were pretty light, although Adigan Pass did pick up an inch of snow in the last 12 hours. Otherwise, just scattered rain and snow showers over the northeast interior. Showers kind of spilling in across the border there into the 40-mile country, mostly Eagle southward in toward Northway. And then a trough with that low pressure area just southeast of the Kenai Peninsula, spinning several surges of moisture into the panhandle. Not real heavy precipitation. Ketchikan and Petersburg both picked up about 0.4 of an inch in the last 12 hours. Otherwise, some places didn't have any at all. Juneau, for example, but Haines only picked up 1/100 of an inch. And just very light rainfall amounts from the Kenai Peninsula up into Prince William Sound there, although Port Moller had about 1/1500 of an inch of precipitation. It was a little heavier there over in toward Kamishak Bay around Augustine Island. They had some areas had about 2/3 of an inch or two at the most, actually 1/3 of an inch at the most. Otherwise, scattered showers over the Alaska Peninsula and Pribilofs down toward Cold Bay. Winds gusted to 40 miles an hour at Cape Romanzoff, but that was the exception. They're basically 30 to 35 miles an hour, 25 to 30 miles an hour from the Bering Strait coast down across the Alaska Peninsula along the southwest coast. And out west, low pressure, weak low pressure, kept it cloudy and unsettled over the western and central Aleutians. There was some clearing, though, over the eastern Aleutians and south of the Pribilofs, as well as the south side of the Alaska Peninsula up in toward Kodiak Island. And for tonight, areas of light snow or flurries with possible fog will continue along the Arctic coast, North Slope eastward to the Mackenzie Bay area. Scattered light snow showers are possible in the northeast interior again, but amounts will be negligible. And same for the rain and snow showers there with that trough up over the eastern Alaska Range area. And periods of light rain as another surge of moisture continues to rotate into the panhandle. They'll be drying out on the North Gulf Coast. Chance of showers, Kenai Peninsula, Cook Inlet, and showers chances continue into Kodiak Island, but the southwest part of the island will start to see some clearing, as well as the Alaska Peninsula. And cold front brings light rain and fog to the western Aleutians, southwest Bering Sea, showers for the central Aleutians, and dry for the Fox Islands into the western Alaska Peninsula. And then for tomorrow, first day of the weekend, light snow possible or mixed rain and snow, depending on the time of day there for St. Lawrence Island. Up to the Bering Strait, snow showers, just grazing, may not even reach the Point Hope, Cape Lisburne area. And really just a risk of some flurries or snow showers on the light side for the Beaufort Sea coast, as well as the western Arctic coast into the North Slope. But whatever falls will be very light. Otherwise, the interior looking dry with partial clearing, be generally cloudy through the central interior, and you pick up a chance of showers along the western Alaska Range. Chance of rain, southern Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula, Kamishak Bay. Still, Fognak Island mostly in the shower area there. Areas of light rain along the North Gulf Coast with that trough, and that becoming a little lighter and more showery over the central and southern panhandle late in the day as it begins to dry out. all due to drying ahead of that big storm south of Kodiak Island there, 970 millibars. That looks like it will make a pretty good jog to the northeast on Sunday. There we go. And deep into 959 millibars, so you can see it aimed right at the Panhandle, eastern North Gulf Coast. You're going to see heavy rain on the north coast of the Panhandle, storm force winds, gales with rain, moderate to heavy at times, developing over the southern Panhandle with the warm front there. And rain and wind on the increase, but not to the extent it'll be over the Panhandle along the western North Gulf Coast, Kenai Peninsula, Prince William Sound. Shower chances increase for Cook Inlet to the Alaska Range. Looks wet for Kodiak Island with northwest winds gusting 35 miles an hour there. Showers over the Alaska Peninsula and tightening gradient there over the Bering Sea from actually the northwest coast southward across St. Lawrence Island with probably seeing winds 25, possibly gusts 40 miles an hour in that same pattern all the way down to the central and eastern Aleutians with quite an area of light rain, fog, and drizzle in that. Pretty well solid from St. Matthew Island to the Pribilofs, right on down to Unalaska, Nikolsky, and then get a little more showery toward Adak and Atka, and high pressure building in over the far western Bering, just near Shimei and Attu. You'll be right on the edge of some clearing out that way, and it's the gradient between that higher pressure ridge and then the deepening low in the Gulf that's going to tighten those winds, tighten the gradient up, and pick the winds up there over the Bering Sea. But again, the strongest winds are going to be over the eastern Gulf of Alaska, pushing into the Panhandle during the day on Sunday. Otherwise, the Arctic coast north slope, same pattern, easterly flow, light easterly flow, and in that will be some areas of light snow showers or flurries, but again, amounts will be pretty negligible, partly sunny skies in the north central interior, all the way out to Kotzebue Sound and the Yukon Delta coast. Taking a look at low temperatures for tonight, in the mid-teens to mid-20s there for the Brooks Range and North Slope, near 30 on the Arctic coast, lower 30s, upper 20s to lower 30s over the west central interior. And south central Alaska pretty much staying in the 40s, lower to mid. Copper River Basin, some areas could drop into the lower 30s, but for the southeast coast, mid to upper 40s there. Near 40 for the Kodiak Island, Alaska Peninsula, lower 40s for the Aleutians and Pribilofs. Highs for Saturday, mid to upper 50s to Sitna Valley, Kenai Peninsula areas, Turnagain Arm, Anchorage, and the Copper River Basin, lower to mid 50s. And in the 50s there for the southeast coast, near 50 Kodiak Island, mid to upper 40s for the Aleutians and Alaska Peninsula, and upper 30s there for St. Lawrence Island and the north side of the Seward Peninsula to Kotzebue, and lower 30s on the Arctic coast and North Slope, upper 20s to mid 30s there in the Brooks Range. And for the lows on Sunday morning, 30 to 35 central interior from Eagle and Northway westward across Fairbanks all the way out to, say, St. Michael, lower 30s for Nome, and basically in the 20s for the North Slope and Arctic coast, teens areas of the Brooks Range, and mid to upper 40s, south central Alaska staying mild with upper 40s in the Panhandle, followed by highs in the 50s once again for the southeast coast, mid 50s south central Alaska, near freezing on the Arctic coast, 20s North Slope into the Brooks Range, central interior, 48 to 53 for your highs, and then mid 40s out to the west, as well as the.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Moving on to flying weather, we've got quite a bit of IFR there from the Brooks Range on out to the Arctic coast. Some of that south of the mountains there into the northern Koyukuk Valley and the western or northwestern Yukon Flats area. Marginal VFR through the central interior all the way down into Bristol Bay, Kodiak Island. IFR, southern Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula, south side into Prince William Sound, North Gulf Coast, eastward to Yakutat. More IFR there, either side of the central and eastern Alaska Range. And out west, not bad. We've got VFR there from the Kobuk Valley, Selawik, Kotzebue, southward across central eastern Seward Peninsula, Norton Sound, Yukon-Kuskokwim Valley to the Alaska Peninsula, right to the Pribilof Islands. And then a zone of IFR there, south central Bering Sea, southward about Adak. And marginal for the southern Panhandle. And for the afternoon, VFR for the southeast coast, and then right into the IFR there, just west of Elfin Cove, Yakutat IFR over to Montague Island, southern Kenai Peninsula, southern Cook Inlet. Some VFR, though, for Fognak Island, otherwise Kodiak Marginal, Alaska Peninsula, Bristol Bay Marginal VFR, marginal VFR in the central interior extending eastward into the upper Tanana Valley area to about Eagle. And IFR, Eastern Arctic Coast and North Slope to the crest of the Brooks Range. And we've got, again, that zone of IFR there. A little farther to the east, almost to Atka Island and right over Adak. Otherwise, looks like the Pribilos may slip into the VFR zone with marginal VFR Eastern Aleutians, St. Lawrence Island. And for Sunday morning, IFR again, North Slope, Eastern Arctic Coast, and most of the Brooks Range southward into the Koyukuk Valley. Marginal VFR for the Kobuk Valley, southward across the Kuskokwim and most of the Yukon River there until you get out to the Delta. And pretty much marginal VFR across southern Alaska. Some VFR, though, Copper River Basin, Upper Tanana Valley, the Yukon Flats. IFR pushing into the coastal areas of the Panhandle, marginal VFR for the eastern areas. Also marginal for the Alaska Peninsula, all of the Aleutians, and western and central Bering Sea northward to St. Lawrence Island. And for the afternoon, IFR shows up there from the Bering Strait to St. Lawrence Island, and now along the Yukon Delta coast to Nunivak Island, Pribilos VFR, on down toward roughly Cold Bay, Nelson Lagoon, look VFR, and then as you head up the peninsula there, Bristol Bay socked in with marginal VFR, as well as all of the southwest coast, Kuskokwim Valley, right up into the Yukon Kuskokwim River valleys, eastward along the Alaska Range. VFR, Cook Inlet, Susitna Valley area, part of the Kenai Peninsula, Turnagain Arm, maybe some VFR for the Copper River Basin, but IFR, Kodiak Island, right up along the North Gulf Coast. All of the Panhandle looks to be IFR. For passage tomorrow, Anatuvik, IFR, becoming marginal in the afternoon, but I think Adigan just leave it IFR at times throughout the day. Lake Clark and Merrill, same thing, IFR at times throughout the day Saturday, but rainy, a little bit better, call it marginal for that pass. Windy, possible marginal VFR all day long, either approach, and for Isabel, marginal VFR, northern entrance as well. And for Mentasta, not bad, VFR the entire day. And for Tanita, same thing, optimistically it'll be a VFR flying day through that pass. And Portage, marginal VFR. Could be VFR in the western entrance with the marginal VFR confined to the east side. And for Chilkoot and White, good VFR. For the freezing levels, jet stream definitely, we're on the cold side of the jet stream with the lack of gradient out there, especially over the Aleutians. But about 4,000 to 6,000, well actually 4,000 feet for the Panhandle up into the southeast interior, 2,000 feet south of the Brooks Range, diving southward to Bristol Bay. And you can see the surface tomorrow all the way down to about Togiak Bay. And from there, taking a look at icing. Band of moisture up along the North Gulf Coast, trailing off into the Panhandle. So we've got some patchy areas of considerable moderate rime icing into the coast range there, Kenai Peninsula, maybe Kamishak Bay, Iliamna area. Huge batch down to the south. That'll be moving northward and affecting the area. Kodiak Island first, and a good shot of southwest winds will push that right into the eastern North Gulf Coast and Panhandle later in the day, Sunday and Sunday night. And for the jet stream, you can just see the beginning of that southwest flow, but tomorrow it's still well south of Kodiak Island and the jet stream south of the area. We're on the cool side, so kind of showery, unsettled most everywhere in mainland Alaska. And 9,000 feet, 55 knot northerlies there, mostly over the Komodorsky Islands, a gradient pretty much south of us. Turbulence possible, St. Lawrence Island, western Aleutians.
Ahoy, Extra Cadets, and welcome to the Okeanos Explorer. I'm Debbie, and I'm an ocean explorer. I work for NOAA, which stands for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Together with many other people, I work on this ship, and we explore the deep sea. How do we do that? Let's go find out.
Octonauts, let's do this. Yow!
The pressure in the ocean is so great humans can't go there, so we send a special robot. Octocadets, meet Deep Discoverer, our special robot for ocean exploration. And this is Chris. He works with Deep Discoverer. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Debbie.
Can you tell us about what Deep Discoverer does?
Sure. So this is Deep Discoverer, and today we're going to take Deep Discoverer up to 4 miles down to the ocean floor so you can see what Deep Discoverer sees.
And how do we do that?
We do that by using these powerful cameras and powerful lights.
That's neat. And what is that?
And this is our manipulator arm, and we use this arm to take biological and geological samples that we store up front in these boxes, and so that we can bring them to the surface so scientists can analyze them.
Wow, isn't that cool, Octocadets? Wow! Now that we know more about the special robot that explores the seafloor, let's find out more about the ship. Octocadets, let's do this. Now let's find out what we do with D2's video. Come along. This is the control room. A lot of things about D2 happen in here. Behind me you see the pilots. They steer D2 on the seafloor. And over here we have scientists. Hi, Steve and Stacy.
Hi, this is Steve and I'm Stacy and we are marine biologists.
Can you tell us about the work you do here?
We actually look at the videos collected by the robots and we try to identify organisms along with other scientists on the shore.
What are you looking at right now?
We're actually looking at a sea star.
That's so awesome, thank you. Now let's look at how we make maps of the seafloor.
Excellent, Quasi. A good map helps you to get to places you've never been.
We also have a scientist on board who makes maps of the seafloor. Hi, Derek.
Hi, Debbie.
Can you tell us about your work?
Sure. My job on the ship is to make maps of the ocean floor. We do this by sending sound from the bottom of the ship. It echoes off the seafloor and comes back to the ship. And then from that, we can make maps like this. So this is what it would look like if you were able to drain the water out of the ocean and actually see what the landscape looked like down there. We use these maps to give the vehicles a place to dive, and they explore further, just like Octonauts do.
Status report, Dashie.
We're right on course, Captain.
So earlier we learned that D2 picks things up from the seafloor with his manipulator arm. Let's find out what we do with those samples. This is the wet lab, and Megan spends a lot of time here. Megan, can you tell us about your work?
I am the sample data manager, so when the ROV comes up, we go out and we collect the samples from the ROV and we bring them in here. And we try to record as much information about them as possible, everything from the details about what they look like to the environment conditions where they were found. How cold was it, for example? Then we come in and we take imagery using this microscope, and we take pictures using this camera as well. And then after we get all the pictures taken and we're ready, we prepare them for shipping to other scientists and museums so more science can be done, such as the squat lobster, this cup coral as well.
And what is that?
This is a piece of coral, or several pieces of coral, that we think might actually be a new species. So we are going to send it out for a comparison to existing species to see if we discovered something new.
Wow, you have a really cool job.
Thank you.
Fascinating. I've read about this, but I've never actually seen it.
An important part of how we explore the ocean is keeping in touch with scientists and Octocadets on shore. Let's go see how we do that. Rosemary, could you tell the Octocadets a little about what that dish does?
Sure. My name is Lieutenant Rosemary Abbott. I'm the operations officer aboard the Okeanos Explorer, and that is our VSAT. It stands for Very Small Aperture Terminal, and inside that satellite dome is a very powerful dish antenna that allows us to communicate with shore and share video in real time. The technology is called telepresence.
Wow, that is so interesting. Thank you, Rosemary. Now I'm getting really hungry. Let's go to the kitchen and talk about food. This is the ship's kitchen, also known as the galley. And this is Michael. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Debbie.
Michael is the chief steward on this ship, and he keeps 49 people fed for 3 weeks at a time. Michael, how do you do that?
With a lot of care and with the help of 3 crew members. I have myself, the chief steward, a chief cook, and a second cook. and we just do it with a lot of love and care and make sure that everybody's happy and well fed. We use up to 150 dozen eggs per trip, up to 100 gallons of milk, a lot of veggies and fruits, a lot of snacks. Everybody's very pleased with what we usually put out. We also make sure that we do it in a loving way, in a sanitary way, in a safe way that keeps everybody from getting any tummy aches.
I'm about to enter the ship's bridge. It's like the octopod's headquarters.
Octonauts to the HQ.
Ahoy, Captain.
Ahoy, Debbie.
Hi, Eric.
Hello.
Octocadets, meet Eric Johnson, the commander of the ship. Eric, can you tell us about what you do up here?
Absolutely. Hello, Octa Cadets. My name's Eric Johnson. I'm an O-Corps officer, and I'm the captain of the Okeanos Explorer. Welcome to my office. This is where we drive the ship. This is where we control the operations. We run the propellers that are underneath us in the back to the wheel up here at the front, which is where we steer. It's a pretty cool job. It's very exciting, and it's pretty beautiful around here as well.
So, Octocadets, now you know a little bit about the ship and how we explore the deep sea. I hope you enjoyed our time together. I'll see you next time.
Debbie, safety first.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Looking at coastal water forecasts. Pretty light winds for Saturday on the south coast, comparatively what they'll be late Saturday night and Sunday. South to southwest 15 knots, seas 9 to 10 feet. Southerlies 15 knots on the north coast with 7 to 8 foot seas. And the inside waters generally looking south to southeast at 15 with seas at 3 feet. And then for Sunday, got storm warnings coming in, really good storm warnings on the north coast, eastern North Gulf coast, with looking east-southeast 55 to 60 knots sustained with gusts as high as 75 knots, and 55-knot winds for the out of the south for the north coast, and full gales on the south and central coast from the southwest at 45 knots with seas running 20 to 25 feet there and 27 to near 30 feet in the north coast. Winds coming up clear and straight, also 45 knots out of the southeast with seas building to 12 feet. And for Stevens Passage, the southeast winds increasing to 30 knots, seas 6 feet, and just getting in the small craft advisory criteria for Lynn Canal with those southerly winds picking up to 25 knots. And for the Prince William Sound, on Saturday, east winds 20 knots with 4 foot seas, about the same for the North Gulf Coast as well, 20 knot winds with 5 to 6 foot seas. Out of the east, Barren Islands east 15 knots, Kamishak Bay light east breeze at 10 knots, and Cook Inlet northeast breezes at 15 knots with 3 to 4 foot seas. Outlook for Sunday, big increase in those winds again. Actually, that's like hurricane force level winds there, hurricane force wind warning for the North Gulf Coast. East sustained 65 knots, 25 foot seas, and then storm warnings for the western North Gulf Coast and the Barren Islands, 50 to 55 knot winds there with 20 to 25 foot seas. Gale warnings for Prince William Sound, northeast 40 seas 9 feet, and also 40 knot winds out of the north for southern Cook Inlet and Kamishak Bay with 12 foot seas, and even north of the Forelands there, northern Cook Inlet northerlies at 30 knots with 9 foot seas. Kodiak Island, westerlies 15 to 20 knots tomorrow, and for the Alaska Peninsula, north 15 knots, seas 3 feet, light winds from Bristol Bay from the north at 10 knots. And for Sunday, Kodiak Island, gale force winds out of the north and northwest at 40 knots, and gales from Sitkinak to Castle Cape from the west at 35 knots. Otherwise, west-northwest 20 to 25 knots for the Alaska Peninsula, and Bristol Bay looking at northwest winds at about 20 knots with 4 foot seas. And for the Fox Islands, north to northeast winds 15 to maybe 20 knots with 3 to 4 foot seas. Even lighter kind of laying down there for Adak and Atka, or staying light, northerlies 10 to 15 knots. And then the northwest winds pick up 20 knots at Amchitka, Shimei and Attu. Small craft advisories for 30 knot winds. And then for the Sunday outlook for the west central Aleutians, west of Adak, north to northwest 15 to 20 knots, but small craft advisories for Adak and Atka, as well as eastern Aleutians, pretty uniform for a change there, with seas running 7 to 11 feet. And for the southwest coast, on Saturday, south of Nunivak Island, northerlies at 15 knots. Along the Yukon Delta coast, north 25 knots. Small craft advisories also in the forecast for St. Lawrence Island for northerlies at 25 knots, as well as St. Matthew Island and the Pribilof, with those seas over the Bering Sea running 7 to 8 feet. And for Sunday, Norton Sound, north 25, small craft advisories also for St. Lawrence Island, the Yukon Delta coast, St. Matthew Island, and the Pribilofs for north or northwest winds, 25 to 30 knots, with seas running 5 to 11 feet. Eastern Beaufort Sea coast tomorrow, northeast 15, central coast east of 15, northwest 20 on the west side, and from Cape Beaufort to Wales, north winds 25 knots with 6 to 8 foot seas. And for Sunday, not much change there, north to northwest or north to northeast, 25 knots from Wales up to Cape Beaufort, and the central and eastern Arctic coast looking at east winds at 15 knots with 3 foot seas. For tonight, again, look for areas of light snow or flurries with little accumulation along the north slope in the Arctic coast, and kind of a diminishing snow showers for the northeast interior there, or rain and snow showers. Again, light amounts, otherwise basically dry in the interior. Chance of showers continues for Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula, northern Kodiak Island, periods of light rain with several troughs rolling into the southeast coast, and also out over the western Aleutians. Cold front brings rain and fog to that area. And for Saturday, about the same, unsettled and damp North Gulf Coast and the Panhandle, dry in the interior, chance of flurries up over the Arctic coast, and cloudy and wet for the Panhandle and the big.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.